Hi, Danny Hester here at Gold's Gym, the Mecca, Venice, California. Here in the posing room where a lot of history's been made and a lot of great athletes. We're gonna train some chest today, so stay tuned. Let's get going. So I love competing, but I don't like a lot of the politics and, not necessarily when I say politics as far as what you place, because to me it was fine. If I got on stage and I got to pose, hey, for me it's about being the people's champ because, like I was saying, to be honest, if I would have won and got my pro card early, I would have been done. It would have been hard to compete against unless I wanted to step it up to that level, and it wasn't about that for me. And I was fortunate enough to have really substantial contracts with big companies early on in my career to stay aesthetic. I mean, that was my niche, that was my marketability. So, and it inspired, there's in this industry, you're either an aesthetic physique, which inspires people, or you're a mass monster, and they both inspire people. Because I know the aesthetic part inspires me, and the mass monsters also inspire me. So you need both. But very, very rarely can you have both as far as in the same athlete, and that's a lot of times you get a champion. And for me, it was always competing to stay relevant, also because it was a goal, the ultimate goal to get my body in shape and motivate me. So I didn't need to do it just to win the competitions. I needed it so I would have a goal, because anybody that knows me knows that I like to work under pressure, and if I have too much time, I kind of get lackadaisical. As far as for me, I need goals, whether it's a photo shoot, video shoot, especially a competition. That's what, kind of gets me going, because I want to present the best package I can to motivate people. If you're going to live it, you got to live it, and you don't want to preach it and not live it. That's kind of the worst thing. Then people don't respect you. But for me, I'm always trying to help other athletes, and I want to kind of get myself in the best shape I can so they can respect what I'm saying. Because if I'm not in shape, I know I'm not going to necessarily respect someone that's, not in the greatest shape. I'm not going to ask a homeless guy how to be a millionaire. So that's my philosophy, is you got to live it if you're going to preach it. And so I would drop off for a while, take care of business and stuff. And when I found myself, starting to slip on my fitness, then I would choose a competition, and that's why every now and then I would disappear for a year or so and then come back. It wasn't like I was competing straight, trying to win something, trying to get a pro card or blah, blah, blah. It was me about just keeping my fitness up, and I think everyone should try to compete, because that is the ultimate, struggle to get yourself in the best physical shape you can. And that's what these guys don't realize. If you kick ass and you work your ass off and you don't place well, man, you already won. Do photo shoots, enjoy it. Go around with your shirt off as much as you can, even in church. You know what I mean? Because you already won, man. You're in the top percentage. The normal civilian does not get in that kind of shape. So, there's going to be so many other shows. Just keep pushing. Your time is going to come. Mine did. I think so. Obviously genetics, there's sumo wrestlers, they're Asian too. So, you can always find, certain people, but I think it's definitely the smaller bone structure. It helps. Genetics helps. If you're born with a smaller waist, smaller bone structures, with supplementation these days, you can put on good quality muscle. Just take your time, because people get confused a lot of times of water weight being, real tissue. And that's the thing you want to avoid, is a lot of these guys I help out with, these guys coming in from the East Coast, and I'm helping with their posing and stuff, and man, they're middleweights, placing the top 5 at the Nationals, and they're 215 pounds off season. And it's like, what? Why? there's no excuse for that. When you have to drop that much weight, that's just a lot of stress on your body. It's going to age you. You know, the rule of thumb is if you're growing and your weight's going up and your body parts are growing and your waist is not really growing, keep going. As soon as body parts stop growing and your waist keeps growing, you need to reassess what you're doing. And that's just a really good rule of thumb. So if I'm starting to put on weight, my chest, my arms, my shoulders not really growing anymore, but I notice my waist getting a little bigger, I'm doing something wrong. I need to come back down and reassess. And if you keep that, system, you know, you're not going to go wrong. Then you're going to grow aesthetically and balanced. Yeah, so, you know, also being in California, Hollywood, Los Angeles, and being in shape, you know, like I always say, that's my business card. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of celebrities. I think one of my first celebrities I started training for a movie was in 1992. That was Charlie Sheen. He was one of my first clients. And I was actually working, doing roofing in his dad's house in Malibu. A friend of mine owned a roofing company. And early in the morning, I would have to say like 5 in the morning when the sun was coming up, we'd be on the roof. And Charlie would come home sometimes from partying, like at 4 or 5 in the morning, you know. And I used to see him park and just watch us there, you know, as he was, who knows what he was doing in the car, but I can kind of see him. And he was watching us. And my friend was in martial arts. You know, he was doing katas and stuff, just messing around up there. And I was hitting poses because the sun was coming. It was really cool. And actually later on that day, he came up and started talking to us, and he was getting ready for a movie, and he saw we were in shape and everything, and it really inspired him to hopefully put away whatever he was doing in the car and coming home at 4:30 in the morning. And actually he did, you know, and that's the thing, is I work with a lot of celebrities, and, you know, Mickey Rourke, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and fortunate enough to be close to their prime when I was training them. You know, it was really interesting to see how they've been so on top, and, you know, just their history of their career, and, you know, kind of not doing as well, and turning to fitness. You know, fitness is so important. It really taught me that no matter what's going on in life, you could be at the top of the world or you could be broke as a joke, but if you got your fitness on, you're always going to have that confidence. You know, that's something really no one can take away from you, something that you have control of. And it's a really good feeling. And I think a lot of these guys, if it wasn't for their fitness, they'd be in rehab a lot more, or they'd be dead, to be honest. So it's very important, and I was very blessed to actually be able to be part of that and motivate them, kind of like how they motivated me with their, you know, with their talents. So, you know, they talk about different, whatever's popular at the time, a new category comes up. You know, to me, it's still all bodybuilding. And the classic, even more so than the men's physique, it really is truly bodybuilding, because you actually pose, you know, same criteria, you have to be in condition. They just take in consideration more like it's supposed to be, you know, which I think a lot of the judges kind of forget about because they get caught up in the hype. Because it's supposed to be about presentation, conditioning, and balance. Most importantly, balance. Like I said, there's two sides, you know, to fitness, to bodybuilding. There's the symmetry, the aesthetic part, the beauty of it, and there's the mass monsters, just raw power, and they're both motivating, and they're both needed in the sport to inspire people, no matter what you are. You know, the biggest guys in the world, the strongest guys in the world, they want to be symmetrical. That inspires them. You would think it'd be another powerful guy, but it's actually the symmetrical guys that I used to get compliments from the big guys, going, man, I would love to be like that, and this and that. And then also the other guys that are symmetry and balanced like me, sometimes we want to be big. We're kind of sick of being, you know, the pretty boy and aesthetic and this and that. We want to get some raw mass and power. So, you know, we both inspire each other. And that's the thing with the division like classic, it's not going to overtake anything. It's not going to overtake 212s or the opens. It's just all going to mesh together, and they're going to get that balance. Like I was saying, both worlds will meet, and they'll respect the placing and as far as the judging and appreciation for all of it equally. And that's how it's supposed to be. Some guy could be super huge, some guy could be more balanced. You got to pick which one is the best in between. It might not be this guy or this guy, it might be this guy. And that's how it's supposed to be judged, and that's how it used to be judged. So I think it's just holding up a mirror saying, hey, don't forget about this part of it. The Classic's just holding a mirror up to the open division, to the mass monsters. Say, don't forget about this part of it, because this is where the masses are coming. We want this back. It's just demand. People are still going to want the mass monsters, but it's not as achievable. So if you can get a mass monster with some classic lines, hey, everybody's going to want to look like that. And you got to reward that. You got to stop rewarding just pure mass. And some judges do, but the way the trend's been going, I think, like I said, that's why they developed the classic physique, and it's just going to hold a mirror up to the rest of it and say, don't forget about this part. And I think it's just all going to mesh. It's going to be classic open physique bodybuilding. So I wish they would get rid of the name physique and put bodybuilding, because it gets a little confusing sometimes. I think the civilians is what I call people that are just getting into fitness. I think you got to go through boot camp first, and pay your dues a little bit, and then live the lifestyle and have some gains and do at least one show. Then you're not considered a civilian in my standards. So I think the civilians that want to get in it, and just look at all the stuff in social media and get inspired to pick up weights and get fit. I think they want to get something that's achievable. Like when I was growing up, for me, fitness was about, individual sports. I didn't like team sports. I was box, martial arts, breakdance, just all that stuff that was an individual, that you had control of. It wasn't a team. And I used to look at Bruce Lee, obviously for his talents as a martial artist, but also his energy that he put out through his physical, presence. And that's really what got my attention with that, the physical presence, the charisma and the energy, the aura you put out, being in shape. And he was in shape, man. And as I got a little bit older, got a little bit thicker, I took his poster down and put, Arnold's up. And so I think there's going to be a gradual transition, as far as people getting into the fitness industry, and it will help. Definitely, these new categories will help enter people in, but people also look at the long goal. They might think, okay, I can't get that quickly, like the open division, but I'd like to be there someday. It's a possibility. But on the journey, you have to have things in the middle, or else it's just too long of a journey where people aren't even attempt it. So I think that it's another part of the welcoming of the civilians, like I say, to the fitness world. And you can achieve each level, until you decide which level you want to stay at, which is best for you and your lifestyle. I think the weight limits, it's okay to come up. Everybody's got a little bit different bone structure. For me, it's fine with me. I don't mind the extra weight. I would like to see the weight go up, not necessarily for me so much, but a lot of the guys with maybe bigger bone structures or just longer limbs, because I would like to see a taller guy, a guy with bigger bone structure, have enough of the weight allowance so he can get the round muscle bellies. Weight not necessarily is not a determiner of who wins or loses. I want it to be a fair playing field. So to a certain degree, being a little bit lighter like it is now, it's a great introduction. But I have to admit, it's possibly to my benefit, because I do have small bone structures. I'm not a real tall guy. So, and I don't need a whole lot of weight to look round. You know, I was blessed that way. But I see a lot of potential in a lot of great athletes that can use some more weight. And I've been in it long enough where I see their progress, and it's going to come to a point where it's going to be really hard, if not unhealthy, for them to get that weight to make, you know, that ratio that they offer. And so for me, go ahead and give some more weight. I mean, we all know what's ridiculous, what's unnaturally attainable, you know, and you have to respect that. You can't have a guy my height weighing, you know, 240 pounds. It's just crazy. It's not healthy. But some guy that's 6 foot, 5'10", shoot, give him 210. You know what I mean? 220. That's fine. Because looking back in the old days, well, it's the old days, maybe like the 80s and 90s, they posted all the time. They play the video here of the old school guys like Gary Stridham and those guys. They didn't weigh that much, and they were beautiful physiques, man. You know, Gary Stridham, I think, was like 6 foot, if not taller, and he weighed 229. He looked massive, unbelievable. A lot of these guys, Rich Gaspari could do the 212 division. He looked way bigger than that. You know, that's the thing. So it's all about an illusion, but you have to have a weight limit. Even the open divisions, you have to have a weight limit, because then it gets too carried away with where you're putting the mass. And I've seen a lot of guys when they're younger push it. They had a great physique at one point, and all of a sudden it gets destroyed, you know, because they're chasing that. You know, for example, I think, to be honest with you, my opinion, when my boy Flex won the USA, that was beautiful to me. That was the epitome of the perfect physique. I think he weighed like 218 pounds. And the next year he took second to Dorian Yates, weighing just probably around that too. And then he kept going. And to me, that wasn't an aesthetic look anymore to a certain degree, you know, and it compromised his health. I'm sure it did, you know. So that's where I think if there was a weight ratio that was a little bit more, I think it'd be healthy, because you don't want the guys also being unhealthy, taking diuretics and really drying out and everything, trying to make that weight. Because I used to do that when I wrestled in high school and college, and that is not healthy, you know. And it's about fitness, health and fitness. So fitness means health, I would assume. And that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys that I've competed against, you know, over the years. I want to see them grow old and be healthy, and show the people that don't work out and always talking, you know, crap about us, being obsessed, being in wheelchairs and shit. So, you know, and we're still 80 years old playing basketball and, you know, lifting weights. And that's what it's about for me. It's about the long game. Thanks for joining us at MD. Hope you loved the videos. This is Danny Hester, Classic Mr. Olympia. Catch you next time.